Hey, good afternoon. This is Kirk McDowell with the Book Writers Club, and you caught me removing the picture from the wall there. Anyway, Kirk McDowell with the Book Writers Club. It's Thursday evening, the 17th of I think 17th. I am here to talk to you about attachment, the possibility killer, right? So this is being presented by the Book Writers Club. This is a service for coaches, public speakers, thought leaders, consultants. You may have a book in you. You know, you have a legacy to capture, or you would like a really fun, creative, valuable way to talk about your business and blow up your business, or you've just had a book in you for a while and it's time for it to get out. So if you want to find out more about the Book Writers Club, the link's right there in the description. We'd love to talk to you. Okay, so today is we're talking about attachment, the possibility killer. All right, so there's a couple things in there. What do I mean by attachment? What do I mean by possibility? Right. So let's start with attachment. So have you noticed attachment? So have you noticed how there'll be something that you think is a good idea, like, you know, I want to go to a movie tonight. I want to go to a restaurant. I want to change my career. I want to get married. I want to get divorced. Doesn't matter what it is. There's something that you think is a good idea. And for a moment there, it's like this really beautiful future, like this awesome thing that you're inspired by. It's like cool and, there's nothing weird about it, right? There's just something that you want. You're inspired, maybe something like that, right? But what happens very quickly is human beings get attached to whatever they want, right? So it quickly becomes, I don't want a beautiful home in a beautiful neighborhood. I want that house for that price. And if anything else happens, like I don't get what I want, I'm somehow like damaged or impacted or something like that, right? So that's like attachment, right? So now there's something called commitment, right? You could actually be fully committed to something, even highly specific, like I'm really committed that this thing happens this particular way, and so forth and so on. But the key difference would be when you have a commitment and it doesn't turn out right, because not everything, you ever notice how like not everything turns out the way you'd like it to, right? So I've also noticed that. But if you're committed to something, right? Like I'm committed to being a great coach, for example, right? So if I have a failure in there, all I just complete that, resolve that, put in the training, forgive myself, clean up whatever mess I made, whatever it is, right? Take care of it, and then you know return back to the business of training myself to be a great coach, right? So there's really nothing dramatic there. There's no shame. There's no, this is, this is what I'm committed to. It either did or didn't happen, and I'm always just left with my commitment. There's really nothing else going on, right? But if I'm attached, it's a whole different world. Oh, another thing about commitment is it might be fulfilled in lots of different ways. So there might be lots of different ways in which I become a great coach, right? Reading books, going to seminars, practicing, whatever, right? So so inside of a commitment, there's this, thing that you're committed to, an outcome or an objective, and results, an accomplishment. And then there's, you either succeed or you don't succeed. But the strategy might be a lot more fluid, because what your attention on is on the final, like what it is you're there for, like the final commitment, the thing that you're committed to, rather than getting all twisted up in exactly how we get there or maybe who participates or whatever, right? So inside of attachment, generally all that stuff is really rigid. Like I got to have this outcome. If there's any other outcome, I can't be with it. I'll be upset. I'll throw a tantrum. I'll quit. I'll leave the relationship, whatever. So I need to have this particular outcome, and generally it's like it's got to be done this particular way, right? So versus attachment again, I want this outcome, might be different ways, but there also could even be subtleties about the outcome. So maybe today being a great coach looks like this, but as I expand myself as a coach, maybe being a great coach could look differently to me, right? So inside of commitment, there's plenty of room to move around and maneuver and respond to the real world as it's happening. But inside of attachment, there's more of the defense against any new information, anything that might throw us off course, throw us off the predetermined how we're going to get done, what we're going to get done. Then there tends to be like a resistance to it, like almost like blinders, right? So attachment really is kind of detrimental. I was going to say evil, but that would be sort of dramatic, right? But it's detrimental, right? In this way, right? So if you notice, oh, another thing about attachment is it has sort of a closed feeling, like a contracted feeling, and commitment has kind of an expansive or open feeling to it. Like, committed to being a great coach kind of has an open, like it's a beautiful future for me, but I have to have, you know, uh, this many clients by this date, and they have to be this type, and da 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 da. I'm not hating on goals, right? This is a little different. But if it's got to be just a particular way, and if any other thing happens, I'm going to be upset, or I'm going to be, you know, I'm not going to be okay, then that's attachment, because what that does is it literally kills the creative process. You've decided how you're going to do it, you've decided what's going to happen, what it's going to look like, and now you're about the business of making that thing happen and nothing else, right? So if you look at it from kind of a, I don't know, transform, universal, sort of woo woo muckety muck kind of way, right? You could speculate that the one way you've chosen to have something done, just sort of mathematically, is unlikely to be the very best way. Like if there's an infinite number of ways to accomplish an outcome, let's say there's an infinite number of ways to create being a great coach. But if I get all geared up on this one particular way, I've got to have this one piece of training by this one person and whatever, whatever, whatever. What I'm effectively doing is killing off the other infinite number of ways I could be a great coach. So you can just, even from a strategic or pragmatic point of view, it's not good medicine, right? So another evil or detriment about being attached is sort of this experience of getting hijacked, right? So typically, if someone's attached to something and it looks like they're not going to get what they want, right? You could have you will notice, right? If you're attached to something and you're not getting what you want, you might have a reaction, and that reaction might be very much of a sort of a brain hijack kind of reaction. The brain is designed to, if you're under threat, to shut down feeling and thinking and react immediately, like survival, reactive survival. That's what this part of the brain is for. And if you're attached to something and it looks like it's not going to go your way, that might show up as a threat, and then you're hijacked, and then you're having difficulty processing your feelings and difficulty thinking. And so if you really think about it, attachment is almost definitely going to make you less able to accomplish what you're out to accomplish, right? If you're experiencing threat and you're having the chemical reactions in your brain and in your body, just less effective, right? Just less effective, right? So you add all that together, right? You have something that you want. You can either be committed to it or you can be attached. And in the attachment, generally the experience is contracted, a desire to control people and control situations. Because remember, it's got to be only one way. So if it starts deviating, you'll start to try to maneuver events or people or situations to make it go the one specific way that you decided you have to have it, right? And so all your energy then goes into controlling stuff rather than creatively thinking and moving through a process or a situation or being with someone at your highest capacity, fully present, fully there, fully inspired, using all the resources and opportunities that you are. And so why I say attachment is the possibility killer is because possibility is a very sort of expansive thing, right? When you create a possibility about something, like oh well, this is perfect. So I'm just finishing up writing a book called Contribution Selling, and I've had the transcript. I've got the first sort of transcript back, and I had it for over a week before I read it, and it was really interesting. I was like terrified to read it, terrified, and I was worried about like if I didn't like it and what would that mean. I've been talking, just all this sort of stuff. I just literally would read a few words and could not get myself to read it. So I was having a conversation with somebody, and I noticed, oh, like I could create a possibility about this, right? So I kind of really looked at what all the crankinesses were, and really it was attachment. I was attached to having this be amazing, having my book be amazing, right? But inside the attachment, I couldn't be with any other outcome, right? And so at the very threat or risk, no matter how minute or whatever, that might happen, I just was frozen. I could not move forward, right? That kind of unwound the thing. I saw what I was attached to. I saw what I was afraid of, like it not being good and not knowing what to do about it. And then I created like being peaceful. Like I could imagine like enjoying reading my own work and just like enjoying the accomplishment and peace of it. And I could imagine bringing a little fun and play to it, you know. So I literally created fun and play, right? And you know, this morning I got up and had a wonderful morning and read the book, and I loved it, by the way. So it's really great. And then it'll be out shortly. But the point is you know, I was attached to something and just stopped cold. And it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I have any anxiety about reading my own book? It's crazy, right? Except, you know, it was there, you know. So the attachment really just took away my freedom and power and full self-expression and ability to move forward and my inspiration and so forth and so on, right? But once I saw it and got it all unwound, I could just kind of let it go. I was able to share with someone and just kind of let it go and then create something new, right? A new possibility. But you know, the next morning, if I wake up and I'm all attached again, that possibility is gone, right? So among all the other evils of attachment, right, it's going to kill any inspiration in your life, you know? When you interact with people and you're attached, that's tough on people. You know, they get beat up in a certain way, right? If you have a project and you get attached, like I did today, I literally almost like I didn't move forward for over a week on something that was just kind of simple and ridiculous. I mean, you know, that's human beings are often ridiculous, right? So attachment is a possibility killer. So what I recommend is when you feel that attachment, that contracted feeling that, oh my gosh, it's not going my way. What do I do? What do I do? When you feel that, just stop, take a pause, breathe for a moment, right? And just get that, you know, being committed to something, like letting go of the attachment and just replacing it with just commitment, which is really kind of a loving, expansive thing, right? So just bring your commitment to it and just ask yourself, you know, what would your commitment do here? You know, I want to, you know, I want to have a beautiful book and I can't read it because I'm attached. I'm afraid it's going to look a certain way, right? But what would, you know, if I was just free and peaceful and full of love, like what would I do? Well, I'd just read the book and enjoy it. And if there's an issue, I'll handle it. And that's all fine. No big deal, right? So attachment's a possibility killer. There you go. That's going to be a part of a book I'm working on about coaching, which I'll be talking about a little bit more soon. Kirk McDowell with the Book Writers Club. Look, if you have a book on you, let's talk. My website's in the description. I'd love to spend a few minutes with you on the phone and talk about a book outline or answer questions about the Book Writers Club. If you're a coach or a consultant, this is for you. If you're a public speaker, this is for you. If you're ready to capture your legacy and make it available for people, this is for you. Or if you've had a book in you for over a decade, that's me. I've been talking about writing books forever. So, you know, that's for you, right? So it's easy, it's affordable, it's a lot of fun, highly valuable, and we'd love to talk to you. Kirk McDowell, the Book Writers Club. Have an awesome rest of your evening. Talk to you tomorrow.